Ooh la la, ooh la la, ooh la la. Let's get this started right. Um, Let me see. Shibidabidi-bidabidi-bidabidi. Woohoo! Ayoy, 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 ayoy. Connection is flared. Yay! Just what I fucking need. Why? Why you do that to me though? But why? Hey Vincey, how you doing? Give me a minute to pop open a window. mm, mm, mm. So much to do, so little time. Wow. Mm. Let's see if I can do something about this capture properties. Mm. Hmm. Huh. Hmm. Maybe. Maybe. Will this work? Is it gonna do the thing that I want it to do? Is it gonna do the thing I want it to do? Maybe? I don't know. Right, with that. I need to test something. Hmm. Let's see. Did it work? And oop, guess not. Hmm. Mm. Well, guess that didn't work, but it's whatevs. It's gonna be weird though. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, it was purposely on a black screen because I was checking out some of the settings, so don't worry about it. Let's see. Oh yeah, intro time. Hello, this is Kiki, your empress, your queen, and everything in between, the HBIC. If you don't know what that acronym stands for, I suggest you look it up in the Urban Dictionary because that's basically what I am. Anyways, um, I'm back with art segments. Now, this really isn't gonna be much of me drawing as much as I am talking, only because I need to get some things off my chest and see where certain things go, you know? Huh. Let me see. So bear with me a moment. I'm trying to think. Let's see. Display capture. Oh, window capture. That's the one I need. If it'll let me. Huh. Ha. Bakayero. Okay, well, that's not gonna be a thing. Guess I want to delete it. Oh, that's not gonna work too well. Huh. I guess I'll have to manage it in my settings at some point, but it's whatever. Let's see. I mean, I'm only gonna be on here for like an hour until I gotta run errands with my sister, so, nothing much is really going on per se. Oh boy. Let's see. You know what? I need something. Idea time. Hey. And we gotta shut this out. And we gotta shut this out. Okay. Well, this is just gonna be a temporary thing since I'm not gonna be actively drawing right now. So, you get to look at my pretty brand, my pretty logo. Let's see. So, I'm back on Clip Studio Paint, and I'm gonna be looking over some of my art pieces and comics, see where I left off. It's been a while, so. It's been a while. But. Vincey, baby, you're good, you're good. Like I said, I'm not gonna be doing much active drawing right now anyways, because I want to talk about a couple things. So, my art, all over the place. I have a habit of planning big, but not knowing where exactly I meet in terms of the middle ground goes. And when I feel like I'm halfway done, I feel like there's more. So it gets stressful. I haven't exactly hit an artist block, but dear Lord, have mercy. all I have to say is we just there's a lot of things that run my there's a lot of things that have run my patience, and I have a new baby niece who is cute. Let's think. Let's see. Yeah, she's the cutest little thing. Um, and there's some little stuff like that. Well, it's a big deal. She was born on December 16th, and yeah, she's starting to bob around and squeak and talk. Well, not talk, but like making sounds. And my notebook again. Like a part that like just completely chipped off. Ouch. Ugh. I have to clip my nails before I go take a shower. And freaking tastic. But let me get a little bit scandalous, a little bit dangerous. I've been getting like a lot of Ariana Grande songs stuck in my head because people seem to use it, and oh god. And I've been like majorly addicted to like texting stories from like my favorite animes and the AUs and Gacha and Gacha Life. Oh my god, some of these like I don't okay. I'm not a huge person when it comes to Gacha Life or whatever. I like it. It's really cute. Like it's the best way to make chibis and stuff. Um but oh my god, the stuff kids come up with. And a lot of them are kids like junior high through high school. Like the ones that make the 13 plus um it's likely they're in junior high or early high school. So it's not like it's a bunch of grown folks making this stuff, but these kids are creative, I'll tell you that. And oh my god, they are hilarious. Like there's one where Bakugo broke one of Deku's All Might limited edition figurines, and all hell broke loose. But it's even funnier watching it on a gacha animation just because of the expressions they can make. Like the damn bug eyes. Oh my god. I lose my shit every time. Um I lose my shit about every time. And oh goodness gracious. Oh. Excuse me. But yeah, I'm just like, dude, you guys, you guys need to chill with me. Like, I die. And I watched a segment about what if Deku was in it. I can't remember where the audio is from, but he's like, oh, yo, bitch, not the fuck you with it. You're like, he's the real sassy bitch. But yeah, I suggest trying to find that. Oh my god. You'll be rolling on the floor laughing and watching the gacha reactions to those. I especially love the these are satisfying to me because, in case some of you aren't familiar with the Boku no Hero Academia story arc about Izuku's earlier years, although you should be, it's like on its almost fifth goddamn season. Um, like, okay, I apparently have a roly-poly in my chat. Like I was saying, during Izuku's earlier years, he was told that he was quirkless by a doctor. And there's like theories and stuff going around. But to stay on canon, basically he was told he was quirkless, and when that was found out, like, his childhood best friend, like, gave him a lot of shit. And, well, I'm not talking about Angie exploding Pomeranian right now. I'm talking about the backstory behind, you know, Izuku and with the Angie Pomeranian and stuff. Now, here's the interesting part that a lot of people did not overlook, which I am so proud of. This was when they were in their last year of junior high, and even though he was quirkless, Deku still wanted to go to UA. Now, this is important. Now, a lot of AUs or villain origin story theories came from this alone. Like, what Bakugo said set a divide in Deku's path into becoming either a hero or a villain. Now, I'm not going to discuss, you know, main character, OP stuff, or whatever, but he said, and I quote, "There might be another way for you to get a quirk. Just pray that you'll get a quirk in your next life and take a swan dive off a roof." Now, that's suicide baiting. He's basically saying, go kill yourself and you'll get a quirk in your next life. And here's the thing. If Izuku had chosen to actually act on it, he either would be, one, he would be dead. Two, he would survive, but then get picked up by the League of Villains. Or, you know, a bunch of other stuff. But he chose not to. Even after All Might himself crushed his dreams as well. And this was after the suicide baiting, saying, you know, it would be too dangerous for him to be a hero quirkless. Basically, he said to him, you can't really be a hero without a power. You know, it would be too dangerous. He would be better off as a police officer, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, like, boy, you're supposed to be the symbol of peace, you know? And you're gonna tell, like, literally, your biggest fan that he can't be a hero when he's at his lowest? And yeah, while the slime villain was attacking Bakugo, and, you know, everybody was trying to figure out a strategy or something, like, all these pro heroes were standing around trying to figure out something to do, but in the meantime, Bakugo is getting suffocated by a slime villain, which is sentient, by the way. So it knows what it's doing. It's not just a regular slime ball, it is a sentient monster. And here comes Izuku, no powers, no nothing. Just what he's learned and what he wrote in his notebook. And here's the thing. He acted Like, his body started moving on its own. That's the thing that set it off for All Might, because this boy was willing to get killed just to save the person who's been bullying him for being quirkless. He could have left Bakugo to die or left it to the Pearl Heroes, but his body started moving on his own because, on his conscience, on God, he couldn't just sit by and watch his best friend from childhood that he was literally, born with. They're pretty much twins. Um, watch him suffer and stuff. Now, granted, he couldn't get Bakugo out and stuff because there's nothing you could do. All Might saved the day, blah 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 blah, and that forwards the training and stuff like that. But you know, and spoiler alert, there is an actual UA trader in the series, but I'm not gonna say who it is. But I am gonna say it's from somebody you really, really do not expect. Like, really not expect. I was effing floored when the manga revealed that. You know what I'm talking about? Feel free to comment on my video below. Um, yeah. So, from an artistic standpoint, I see all these alternative universes and storytelling arcs that people create just from these different shows and stuff alone. And I find it fascinating. Sometimes, in my humble opinion, don't attack me, don't gang up on me. In my humble opinion, sometimes I think the people that write the fanon stories write better than the author themselves. Like, we point out so many plot holes of how things could happen, and a lot of us, pay attention to certain details that no one else normally would pay attention to. We just watch the fights and watch Deku being ooh woo cutie pie, not seeing the whole entire picture. Like, on God, on God, and I don't say this often because I lost my faith, but it could have gone one of two ways. Now, we all know that Deku is the most powerful person in Japan. He is the most powerful hero he's the most powerful hero, period. Even in his training, just from his first year alone, he's defeated two, like, pretty much one A rank and one S tier villain. Like, these fuckers were dangerous. Now, I'm not putting the movie into play. Yes, I know he fought Nine and, stuff like that, but I'm just talking about the show itself, not the movies. But taking that into account, like, seriously, I mean, main character logic and stuff like that, but here's the thing. The main character isn't always the most powerful until, like, much, much later on. Like, Naruto, for instance, is literally the most powerful most powerful Kage in history by the time Boruto starts. Like, even without Kurama, he's still the most powerful Kage the world has seen. And now, a lot of these have, like, humble beginnings or whatever. With a lot of shonen characters, I realize nowadays, either they're getting bullied or they don't know what or who they are. And, you know, we still haven't seen Hisashi Midoriya, unless if people have seen Hisashi Midoriya, Deku's dad. People are speculating it is All For One, just because of how the arc is set up alone and because of the author's love for Star Wars. But it is not confirmed. Now, anyways, back to what I was saying when it comes to characters and AUs. Now, could have gone one of two ways. Either Deku was going to be the most powerful hero, or the most dangerous villain. And I'm talking about more powerful than AFO himself. Like, he still could have been extremely dangerous. So, it's mind blowing from the shit he had to put up with for almost like 10 years that he still wanted to become a hero and beat the odds and still remain Deku, which does mean useless in Japanese, but he wanted it to become a word of hope when people said it. That's why he kept it. It wasn't something endearing about the childhood nickname or anything like that, because it was used to degrade. It was used to degrade Izuku. Let's not beat around the bush. Bakugo gave him that nickname to degrade him because he was quirkless. This wasn't an endearing thing. Kacchan was a nickname of endearment that Izuku gave to Bakugo, but that's, completely different than what Bakugo did. Like, completely different. And a lot of people say, oh, Bakugo, like, he's, like, mistreated because, he could technically be a villain because of how hot-headed he is and blah, blah, blah. No, like, hot-headed guys make the best anti-heroes. Like, seriously. They literally make the best anti-heroes. Hi, Yuki. Welcome home. But, yeah, so his explosive personality, it pretty much goes with the yin-yang effect of, the protagonist and their rival slash childhood friend slash blah, blah, blah. You know, Deku still needed that challenge, and Bakugo still needed that challenge to keep each other in balance. Otherwise, they wouldn't be as powerful as they are today. Oh, I'm talking about AUs and it's mostly a talking arc segment. I'm not actively drawing right now. I'm talking about, characters and stuff like that because, but cuz I've been watching like a lot of these kinds of videos and, reactions to TikToks from Gacha Life or whatever. And like got addicted because they made him so cute. And the what if stories are adorable sometimes. But the heavier what if stories, the fan fictions or the fan texting stories, yes, like Sasuke and Naruto. It's the balance that shonen anime is known for. Um, because there's Goku and Vegeta, and they're always comparing these characters to like Goku, Vegeta, Sonic and Shadow, say Bakugo's the Vegeta to Deku's Goku and blah blah blah, but these are completely different shows. Like, and Goku's beginnings were way different His were pretty much like Superman beginnings, only he fucking lost his memory and somebody destroyed his planet. It just didn't explode. The fuck is calling now? But let's see. What was I saying? I got distracted from that damn phone call. But as far as the rivalries, the origins and stuff like that, like either the good friend goes bad because they want more power than they are, but they can't get it because a lot of the stuff that they do isn't enough for them legally. Or the bad person turns good and actually unlocks their true potential more so when they're not extremely hot-headed and actually hear other people out besides themselves thinking they're the best all the time, blah, blah, blah. And, that's why we have those damn Doshins as well. Don't worry about it, Yuki. Um, but, yeah. So, like I said, Deku could have easily have been either the most powerful hero or the most dangerous villain. And the world would be fucked. Now, I'm not sure about other countries in Boku no Hero Academia. Um, but a lot of the setting is in Japan, so it's it's mostly gonna be by the country and stuff like that. Maybe there'll be a summit with like the number one heroes or something someday. I don't fucking know. Like the most powerful hero in America, Japan's, number one hero, China's number one hero, blah blah blah. That's a lot of number ones. It'd be like the freaking United Nations. But you know, for anime's sake, you know, if Deku truly wanted, he could have easily have started training with the LOV and be able to control one one for all up to a higher percentage. But AFO wants one for all. That's the only flaw that happens when they make Deku the traitor, or he was able to get one for all but still turn evil because of Hero Society's hypocrisy and stuff like that. Um yeah. And that's just like the tip of the iceberg, and there's a lot of videos and segments that have touched on this subject. Well, there was already a villainous hero to begin with, and I'm going to touch on that too, because that kind of trauma would have made any other person probably insane. And the horrifying realization of just how bad Hero Society has overlooked things, or how terrified people were just because of this person's status really, really sickened me. And, one child's already a villain. And the youngest one, is a hero in training. But he could have easily have gone insane and became a villain. Shoto Todoroki. Now, for trigger warning, I'm gonna be discussing, abuse, neglect, you know, trauma and stuff like that. I've been through it myself, but I'm comfortable discussing it when it comes to characters. Because this is something we need to know backstory wise. Now, there's always that cool collected best friend that, starts as a rival at first, but actually have a closer bond than him and the rival. So, yeah, Todoroki is, Midoriya's, aka Deku's, one of his closer friends in the series. Pretty much his best friend, bestie. But his childhood was horrifying for me to watch. And when I started reading further in a manga about the war and stuff like that, spoiler warning, upcoming war, and it might be animated it might come out as an animated comic. I I was getting there, Yuki. I am discussing the origins first. I was already getting ready to discuss Dabi. See, this is why I do things in detail and stuff like that. We know about Dabi being one of the Todorokis, but you kind of ruined that a bit because I wasn't even on him yet. I was gonna get to that. I'm getting to Shoto Todoroki first because he came up first, not Dabi. Anyways, now Endeavor wanted perfection. He was so obsessed with his rivalry. It's fine, just, you know, let me actually explain things. And if you get a little impatient or whatever, don't talk about it right away. Wait for me to actually talk about it. He was obsessed with perfection. Now, a lot of people speculate that Endeavor, like, pretty much bought his wife for a quirk marriage, which is illegal in Hero Society. But there's no, like, actual, like, proof in that in the anime or in the manga, unless if I missed something. Because otherwise, Endeavor would be in jail by now. He wouldn't even be trying to fight that no more. Or being or fighting with Stain and stuff like that. Because, you know what? A lot of the shit he did is also, it's also, it's also kind of mirrors what some child stars go through. Like, oh, they're the son and daughter of this person, their life must be perfect and stuff like that. But no one really knows these things. No one knows what these kids have gone through or were forced to go through. But because they're this actor, actresses, singers, heroes, child, the parents can't do any wrong. And it's that mindset that led to this insanity. And Endeavor knew he could get away with it. People knew about his rivalry with All Might. People knew how bitter he was being number two, always behind him, but no one said shit. You know why? Because he was a pro hero. He's one of the most powerful heroes. Like, heroes were afraid of him. I mean, his quirk is literal fire. Okay? It is fire. It's not the strongest fire, mind you. Not the strongest fire quirk, but it is a powerful fire quirk, nonetheless. Excuse me. But with that, so it's the opposite of fire. Water, ice. He wanted a literal half and half child. Half ice, half fire. 1 in 4 chance that happened. But as soon now, here's another important part to the My Hero Academia series. Quirks manifest when the child turns 4. Now, it could be later, but that's the normal time when the quirk will appear. Hence why Izuku was told so young about him being quirkless. But back on topic, Todoroki, as soon as his quirk manifested, 4 or 5 years old, he was being trained to the bone. Like, he was doing, like, damn near military grade exercises for his tiny 4-year-old body and was getting sick almost on the daily. And Endeavor's, constantly degrading him, saying, how do you think you're gonna surpass me, or let alone surpass All Might, if you can't even do this, that, or the other? Like, it was really brutal and cruel, to say the least. And he was abusive towards his wife and other kids. And this drove Ray to insanity. That's another thing that seriously should have put Endeavor into jail. But all they saw basically was a mom can't handle the pressure of being the number 2 hero's wife, so she burns her youngest child. Like, that's not even it. But of course, who would believe her over her husband, right? Domestic violence. Gotta love it. You know, she lost her sense of self. Because basically, it wasn't a real loving marriage. It was, you're only here to have my baby so I can have a perfect half and half child. And a good weapon to use against All Might. Even though he's supposed to be a colleague. He's not supposed to be the enemy. If you wanted to be number 1 hero, you wouldn't be so focused on beating the number 1 hero. Maybe if you did more for other people instead of yourself, you probably could have had the number 1 spot. But All Might was literally the symbol of peace. Now, I'm not an All Might dick rider. Do not get me wrong. There's some fuck shit I swear to God All Might should have been beaten the shit out of or have gone to jail for. But, that's for another time when I feel like discussing My Hero Academia. But this fact alone just demonstrates how insane this man was and how toxic this family's environment was. And sadly, not too long after Shoto was born, it cost one of his kids' lives. Now, we discuss Dabi. Now, for some that do know already, hear me out. Let me talk. A lot of people already know this, but let me talk about it anyways. Now, I don't know the full story behind it. I have to read that part of the manga about his real past. But basically, Toya was the eldest son and was also one of the most powerful fire quirk users, but it had a drawback. His mom's ice ability, it made him its resistance to ice and stuff like that was a huge drawback because of Toya's fire quirk. Basically, he needed that resistance so he wouldn't get burned constantly. But after Shota was born, he was basically dropped to the curb. Now, I do not know if this is true. I have to look it up. But from what a lot of people have shown is that at some point in time, Toya was trying to prove himself that he was still worthy in his dad's eyes. And, he lit up. And either he purposely faked his death, or he fell unconscious and was found became one of the newer recruits to the league. Lord only knows. I'll have to look into that. But with that alone shows just how horrible it is. And during the war, spoiler alert, he reveals himself. And he puts his hands to his chest, smiling with that psychotic smile, saying the past never forgets. Now, if that's not a really powerful quote, I don't know what is. But it was haunting. And even though he was semi-decent by this time, it's like any parent. I don't care, good or bad parent, it would still be horrifying to know that your son was around all along, but he ended up becoming a villain. And on top of that, one of the most dangerous villains in Japan. Like, he was, like, if him and Shigaraki fought, he probably would have been AFO's disciple. Like, let's not even cap, okay? He just sits back and observes. And let me tell you, this blue fire quirk, don't let it fool you. It's a really powerful fire quirk for a reason. In fact, it's supposed to... His quirk and Endeavor's fire quirk, they cancel each other out. At times. But if Todoroki wanted to go... If Dabi wanted to go all out, he would incinerate things probably within a 3-mile radius. That's how powerful his fire quirk is. Like, if you have so much control over your fire to where you can surround you and another person in a circle of fire while still, keep an eye contact with the person you're facing, that's really freaking powerful. And the name of his quirk is called cremation. That's right. His fire alone, it doesn't just burn, it cremates. Ash. It will reduce people to ash. Now, a normal fire, meaning right off the bat, Dobby's temperature is so high that it'll reduce people to literal, like, blackened corpses or ash. And he could kill hundreds with this. That's why he's literally, like, from, we're going in the leader, right? So Shigaraki is the leader of the League of Villains. Aoko is the founder and the head honcho of the League of Villains. Then comes Shigaraki, his disciple. Then comes Dabi. He is basically second in command from his quirk alone. Now, we could discuss, Compress and Kurogiri with the portals and stuff like that, but as far as most dangerous weaponized quirks go, Dabi and Shigaraki could be tied in that aspect. And for those of you that probably know or don't know, spoiler alert or no, he is Toya Todoroki. He is the eldest son of Endeavor. And he has an extremely powerful fire quirk. But it burns him. And it, like, it damn near, okay, it got to the point where his family thought he was dead. That's how bad his fire quirk got out of control. Because I guess it's controlled by emotion as well. But just from that alone, like, he pretty much about committed suicide because he lost it. He went fucking insane. And of Shoto's, perfect balance, and he was the masterpiece and perfect weapon, of course he would become resentful. He wanted to achieve his father's dream of defeating All Might. He was actually for all this, He loved his dad. He was willing to do anything for him. And this broke him. This was the straw that broke the camel's back. He snaps. And he pretty much, he snaps to the point where he fakes his fucking death. And we don't know, like, until the war happens. That's how bad it was. No one could have seen it. But I have my suspicions as well. When I first saw him, I'm like, he's related to someone. There's always a villain who's related to someone that's on the other side. And my hunch was right on that part. Just, it was freaking that was some good writing there, but, and Shigaraki's origins were just so damn tragic. Like, AFO was the only one that could help him at the time because he had no one else to turn to. He was a 4-year-old boy, like, and he was frightened by what happened, and he was losing his motherfucking mind too. Like, imagine being a 4-year-old and you get this ability, but this ability basically basically turns everything you touch into dust if all 5 fingers are put down. Like, you can't touch anything without it turning to dust. And another side effect is really dry skin. That gets itchy. Well, one can only put on some damn moisturizer and stuff and actually take care of himself. Accidentally killed his family. Keyword, accidentally. Now, people are like, who accidentally kills their family? Somebody who can't control their quirk. It just manifests because he was being abused by his damn father. Like, this shit was unbelievable at this point. He accidentally killed his father. Then, his sister really tough. And he's, basically crying and pleading for his sister to help him. And it's really tragic. Like there are villains that are bad because they can't stand society and just want to do whatever the hell they want. Then there's these powerful villains that have the most horrific backstories that you'll ever see. And any person who, understands like mental illness, a bit of psychology and character writing and stuff like that, knows that the harsher the backstory, the more powerful the person is. Because their resolve builds, their insanity goes through the roof, like to almost to the point of no return. Like, these people weren't being evil for evil's sake. That's not how villainy works. Like, there's being a douchebag and doing whatever the hell you want just because you think you can get away with it, or you get a rush from it. But there are those that are ticking time bombs, or just had some really effed up stuff happen to them in the past. It is an ongoing pattern for both villains and for like serial killers and all that shit. There's always something fucked up that happens. And Shigaraki did not have any help. No one, like, no heroes were around to help him. And he despised heroes because of this. Because they never took the time to really find out what happened to Shigaraki's family, and to find Shigaraki and be like, hey, I heard the pork manifested, and, just remember it was an accident, it wasn't your fault, and blah, blah, blah. He needed that, but he wasn't going to get that. AFO basically brainwashed him saying, society's going to fuck you either way, so you might as well come with me. Another form of manipulation and shit. So, in that regard, it just didn't matter to him at this point. From his childhood onward, Shigaraki became the most dangerous villain next to AFO. And he was no joke. Now, during the mall scene in My Hero, he said that all he had to do, he could easily kill up to 30 people in a matter of seconds just from putting his hand down. Do you know how terrifying that shit is? And it's only activated if all 5 of his fingers are down. That's how much control he actually has, because he knows it takes all of his fingers to activate his quirk properly. And he's extremely dangerous. But would he truly be... He would probably still be, extremely dangerous, even if he was a hero. Not gonna lie. Because, your quirk is your own. That's what happens. But with proper training, he would, have control and yada, yada, yada. And, I don't know if he could have become a hero. Probably could have became, like, a support hero or something like that. But it really actually demonstrates what our human society says about us. What it says about people that have committed these horrific crimes. Like, we didn't help them before it was too late. Nobody asked the real questions that needed to be asked. So, of course, these people are going to be evil in the long run, because no one cared to ask, what's wrong? Or, are you okay? Or, do you need help? 3 words could have decided someone's fate of being good or evil. No one took the time to ask. This 4-year-old boy, not even a pro hero, which I'm sure there was plenty patrolling at that time, considering how big the Hero Society is. No one took the time to look for him, let alone drive the investigation on his family's death and try to find them, try to, see if they can help him, not just physically as a weapon, but mentally for his own well-being. Because this drove him to insanity. And he despises heroes as a whole, especially All Might. And it's really sad, No, I'm not. No. There's no excuse for committing horrific crimes like mass murder, okay? That's a no-no still. You have a choice in whether or not you commit those crimes. But A lot of this could have been prevented if somebody, anybody, stopped to say those three words. Do you need help? Or are you okay? You know, that's the thing a child always needs when something terrible happens to them like that. Those three words. There's another set of three words, though, that say that kind of pissed me off after I looked further into it. And after I read the story farther ahead, because of the insane pressure this put on a 15, 16-year-old boy, he's willing to destroy his own body just to meet the expectation of being everyone's hero. It sickened me to my core. Now, somebody already mentioned this in the analysis they wrote on TikTok, and I would suggest trying to look up the truth behind "I am here" or something like that. Maybe it'll pop up. But those three words, "I am here," what does that really mean? I am here because I appear here, or I'm actually here for you? Like, I am here is supposed to mean something a little more powerful than just, I am here for right now. And this nearly gets this boy killed so many times. Like, the first child he saved, Dakota, Midoriya almost died protecting this child. And where were the other pro heroes? Where was everybody else? They were fighting the freaking League like a few miles away, but didn't bother to check to see where the child was. You know, this freaking 8-year-old, 10-year-old boy. They didn't bother checking where he was or his well being or, you know, all of that. His parents were murdered, who were heroes, professional heroes. Hey, sis. But it basically got swept under like it was nothing. They were like, well, they were killed by a villain, you know, that's the end of that. Like, who the fuck does that? Hello? They had a kid who probably needs counseling. Like, you serious? And the guy was still at large. And he was extremely dangerous. But this "I am here" shit nearly gets a 15-year-old boy killed because of an ideal that you have to be there no matter what, no matter the cost, no matter how much it breaks you physically and mentally. You always have to be there without checking in on your own well-being. Now, as a person with, you know, with mental illness and stuff like that and trauma, this makes my blood boil. Like, you know, we look at these kids as like, you know, the most powerful beings and stuff like that further on in the show, and they could kick ass and stuff, but look what they had to do this. Naruto was a baby when he became the Jinchuriki for the Nine-Tailed Fox. He was a baby. And no one bothered to tell him that his own father was the freaking fourth Hokage. Who, by the way, saved the village along with his dying mother. The third Hokage knew. One of the legends Sannin knew. Some of the Jonin knew. Some of the Anbu freaking knew who Naruto was. But they let him go through that hell just because he was a damn Jinchuriki. Something he had no control over. Just like with Deku, he was freaking beaten and ridiculed almost all the time for 10 years of his life. And this was, more than Naruto. A little more than Naruto, because he was, 15 when he entered, when Deku entered UA, he was like about to be 15 years old. Oh, yeah, I'll be done in a couple minutes, sis. But, like I was saying, and these kids were beaten, they were ridiculed, not just by their peers, but by adults who are supposed to help these kids learn right from wrong and help those who need help. They also turn their backs and caused damage and ridiculed these kids or gave them false hope or a bunch of other bullshit. No one even bothered to tell Naruto who his family was. He had to find out when he was in his six-tail mode, when he was fighting pain. That was the only time, that was the time that Naruto discovered who his parents were. In Shippuden. They had all this time from when he was old enough to understand, from when he was causing trouble, being just being a little, bratty shit, through the age of 17. They could have told him who his family was. He was part of the Uzumaki clan. Great. But, oopsies, forgot to tell him that his father was the fourth freaking Hokage. Like, seriously. What kind of BS is that? This boy was orphaned as a baby and was treated as a damn pariah, as if it was his fault the village was getting destroyed because somebody committed a coup d'etat to try to destroy the village because things weren't going their way. Like, how is that a baby's fault? How is that a young 4-year-old boy's fault? 2 young 4-year-old boys' fault. Now, granted, Izuku and Shigaraki are years apart, but this shit started when they were 4 toddlers, itty bitty kids, preschoolers pretty much, and no one helped them. And yes, props to Inko for being, single mama and, being supportive or whatever, but Izuku didn't need her pitying him or her saying, I'm sorry and all that stuff. He needed encouragement from his mom. And it took All Might realizing the mistake he made about what Izuku was willing to do to save someone, that he finally said the words that Izuku needed to hear. This is, and these are kids. They're teenagers, adolescents. But it all started when they were small. Now, Goku accidentally killed Grandpa Gohan because he turned into the great ape, the Ozaru. He didn't remember anything afterwards either. Now, also, here's another kicker. Somebody actually told him about the great ape that he transformed into. He probably could have either one, trained in that form, or two, been more prepared when the Saiyans invaded, knowing what these things are capable, what these, apes were capable of. But no, everybody just kept it hush hush and freak out, whenever they see a Saiyan tail. Like, bitch, like, tell the damn origins. Why why do you act like it's some sacred secret that you gotta keep from the literal person who has to go through it? Like, seriously. The person who has to go through that is not the same as the person who is witnessing the other person going through that. Okay? And I don't even, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't even think to this day Goku realized what had happened to Grandpa Gohan, besides him being killed by a monster, not knowing the monster was him. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Like, was there a point? Because I'm trying to remember, especially from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z. Like, throughout Dragon Ball, no one mentioned that to him. Throughout Dragon Ball Z, no one mentioned that to him, as far as I know. Because I've watched, like, literally every single episode of these series, back to back. And no one bothered to tell Goku, especially Master Frickin' Roshi, who knew Grandpa Gohan. What really happened? And why hasn't Goku like actually met his parents like in Otherworld, or have them come down from Otherworld or something like that? Like before all this happened, with like the tournament of power and all that shiz, why didn't Goku wish to know who his parents were? If you ask me, that's like a major stab. You think you will want to know your origin, but it was incredibly crazy. Uh, I'm gonna pop off for right now. Well, I'm gonna leave for right now. I got a couple errands to run. Um, I will be back for another segment later on. Um, so I'm gonna get going. Peace out. This has been Kiki, your Empress, your Queen, and everything in between. The HBIC, and I'll see you soon. Actually, bye.